In just a few minutes, this video is going to give you a manager's perspective of just how important the weekly debrief technique is to your company and to your team's performance. We're going to cover off 3 important questions. What exactly is weekly debrief? How does it work? And what benefits does it offer you as team leader? Jumping in with a question of what is it, Weekly Debrief is a management technique designed to better connect managers with their teams. It's really simple and quick to use, so it won't make life harder for you or your team when they're employing the technique. Here's how it works. Each week, your team members are each going to receive 2 emails. The first one, the weekly summary, will ask them to outline the week that's just passed. Not a long report, just the essential facts, figures, and any issues they encountered. The second email, the next week list, will ask them what they're planning on doing over the coming week, a short outline of what they're setting out to achieve. All they need to do is click the reply button for each email and send in their response. And from your team's point of view, that's it. It couldn't be any easier for them. And being email-based, your team can reply from anywhere. Their desktop computer, their laptop, even their mobile phone if they're away from their desk. Literally, if your team can reply to email, they're ready to start using the weekly debrief technique right now. From there, the summaries that your team send to Weekly Debrief are compiled into a professionally presented weekly report, the Weekly Debrief, which is automatically delivered to you every week on the exact day and at the exact time specified by you. What's more, you can also access all of your team's submissions right from the Weekly Debrief website, that's weeklydebrief.com, or even from our free iPad and iPhone apps, both of which take the whole technique to a new level. Reviewing these regular updates from your team gives you the perfect insight that you need every week to stay on top of things as a team leader. You're going to be able to effortlessly review progress, planned activities, and issues encountered, all without lifting a finger and all without seeming like you're micromanaging your staff. You need never be left in the dark again. So, why use this technique? What other benefits are there to you as team leader? Here are 14 positive outcomes from signing up your team. Benefit 1, it stops the endless follow-up cycle. Ever feel you're constantly interrupting your team with endless follow-ups? When's this going to be done, Doug? Or how long till that's ready, Claire? When you implement the weekly debrief technique, you and your team will see an immediate improvement in the levels of follow-up required, since the whole team will be reporting back to you proactively each week, rather than waiting until you remember to ask. Benefit 2 highlights small issues before they become big ones. The weekly debrief technique stops those curveballs hitting you when you least expect it. By reviewing your team's summaries each week, you're going to be quick to spot the minor issues before they snowball. Benefit 3 gives you an opportunity to feed back. Good teams need quality, regular feedback from you as team leader, but you can only provide that feedback if you really have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in your team. Weekly Debrief gives you the bird's eye view that you need to know exactly what the whole team are working on and the direction they're moving in. Benefit 4 makes your team's successes visible. While the end goals that we set as managers serve as one measure of performance, what about all the other successes your team have every day they come to work? What about the people regularly putting in extra hours or figuring out smarter ways to do things? The weekly debrief technique encourages staff to note down their achievements each week, and so your awareness of the team's successes goes through the roof. Benefit 5, you get to jump on positive examples. Just as you need to provide feedback as team leader, you also need to motivate and encourage your team. Having a clear view of the positive outcomes your team is achieving each week gives you a wonderful opportunity to highlight them and to encourage a positive, successful attitude within the team. Benefit 6, helps you delegate, not abdicate. The weekly debrief system ensures that you receive regular updates on tasks that you've passed to your team. After all, following up is one of the golden rules of successful delegation, and without follow-up, you risk abdicating tasks rather than delegating them. Benefit 7 records your team's accomplishments. Whether you're performing a staff appraisal with one of your team or whether you yourself are being appraised by your manager, having a detailed account of the performance of your team for any given period is surely a great asset. You'll be able to clearly demonstrate the results that your team has achieved and review those results with individual team members as required. Benefit 8 shows your team that you care. There are few things more demotivating than a boss who doesn't care or doesn't listen. Weekly Debrief tells your staff that not only do you care, you want to listen to what they have to say, you want to recognize their successes, and you don't want to keep on interrupting their work. What's more, as your team will see in their very own induction video like this one, there are actually several benefits specific to them too. It really is a win-win arrangement. Benefit 9, your team's audit trail. With job functions these days getting ever more varied and all-encompassing, it's hard for any of us to keep track of every dialogue, every decision, every memo. The beauty of Weekly Debrief is that the system serves as a permanent journal of those team dialogues and decisions, and you can quickly search through that archive to review what was agreed and so avoid unnecessary confusion or dispute within the team. Benefit 10 keeps the team on course. Rather than waiting until the end of a project to review your team's progress, often the point at which managers find the project slipped and needs huge effort to drag it back on track, the weekly debrief technique allows for smaller, more frequent adjustments to be made along the way to meeting the planned project outcome. Benefit 11, know what your team are working on. As a manager, at some stage, you've probably found yourself wondering what exactly each of your team are doing. It's often hard to figure out whether individuals just seem busy or whether they're being genuinely productive. Weekly Debrief allows you to keep on top of team members' workloads and to establish whose list is chock full and whose perhaps has a little bit of spare capacity. Benefit 12, find out who's swimming and who's sinking. By plugging into your team's activity on a regular scheduled basis, you'll build a far clearer picture of things like who needs more responsibility, who's currently under-challenged, who might need some additional training, and who might need a one-on-one meeting to resolve an issue. Benefit 13, make yourself aware of problems. The saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. Weekly Debrief ensures that whole weeks don't go by without you having knowledge of significant issues. Gone will be the days when you have to say, I wish someone had let me know about this, or why didn't somebody tell me? Once Weekly Debrief is implemented, your team members will have a weekly opportunity to raise their problems and concerns with you. Benefit 14, spot the dead wood. It's unlikely, of course, that you have any shirkers on your team, but if you did have, then the weekly debrief technique would be likely to uncover them in no time flat. Without regular, scheduled communication with your team, it's often very easy for people to cover up a lack of productivity simply by looking busy. However, once they start using the weekly debrief technique, it becomes very difficult indeed to hide a lack of productivity. Okay, let's just quickly recap those 14 benefits to you as team manager. Stops the endless follow-up cycle. Highlights small issues before they become big ones. Gives you an opportunity to feed back. Makes your team's successes visible. You get to jump on positive examples. Helps you delegate, not abdicate. Records your team's accomplishments. Shows your team that you care. It's your team's audit trail. It keeps the team on course. Know what your team are working on. Find out who's swimming and who's sinking. Make yourself aware of problems and spot the dead wood. If that weren't enough, remember there are several benefits to the individual team members themselves too, and the whole setup process takes less than 5 minutes. So if you would like to improve the performance of your team and start seeing immediate benefits from the weekly debrief technique, go ahead and sign up right now. See you on the inside.